Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. It's 5 o'clock. We're trying to do this at this new time again and see how this works for you. Today, we're going to have this Halloween playlist open chat because that's right. We're still in the midst of Rocktober.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
But first, that's some brilliant comedy right there. I'm not too sure that might show up on Go Game Go again tonight. So be ready for that. Let's take a quick look here and see who we got. Well, I'll tell you one thing. We got an Emma Jade with us today, and I got a finger stuck in my hair. Sup to you. I appreciate you being here. It's great to hear from you again. It's been a little bit. So things are great. Things are moving along. I had kind of a wicked strange day today. It is almost Halloween, and that might be the reason why. I'm not quite sure. Drew's here. What is going on, my friend? Yeah, spreading the love. Here we go. All right. Yeah, so we're getting more things done with the house. I went and helped out somebody yesterday. What was it? A couple of days in a row, I guess it was. Monday and Tuesday, helped somebody else out with a house that they're working on. So found a couple of interesting things, and yeah. And it was a little scary down there. Now here you go. Here's a little Halloween moment for you. I got a couple of things for you. How about this? Tell you a little story, but let me reflect on this too. You ever have those times where you're downstairs maybe, or you're in a building, I don't care what it is, from somebody else's house to maybe even church or wherever you are, and you're the only person there in the building, and you're not used to being there in the building, and it's nighttime in the building and outside, but you get that little weird feeling, that vibe. I wish I had a little music to play in the background here. But you get that strange little vibe that you're like, is everything cool? I mean, am I gonna see something, or whatever it is, and all of a sudden you're just uncomfortable nonetheless. And maybe it's when you were a kid. I remember doing this. You shut the light off at the basement and you run up the stairs, those kind of things, right? So the other night I'm working at this point by myself. My friend had left, and we were clearing out a basement, and it was, musty, dirty, that kind of thing. And just kind of creepy, right? So I'm the only one there, and I'm thinking, at first I'm like, that's no big deal. I'll just finish up what I got to do. Well, then it's a house that I don't know, and I'm moving stuff out, and it's dirty and musty, and you're like, "Ugh." And then you're like, you look downstairs and you're like, I gotta go soon, but I gotta turn that light off down there. So you make your way down the stairs. Now, after I'd been working all day and then doing some work going up and downstairs there, my knees are like, yeah, we're not hustling anywhere. So as soon as I clicked off the light, I'm like, oh, yeah, well, if anything's going to get me, it's going to get me, because I'm not moving up these stairs too fast. But I went as fast as I could. Nonetheless, I'm sure, you know what I mean? Oh, man. My friends like to go cryptid hunting. When we split up, the woods do get creepy. Yeah, I mean, they didn't have that whole big, huge success with Blair Witch for no reason, right? You have those kind of films, and they're filmed in that way where it's like a first person thing, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of creepy, weird. You just all of a sudden you're like, hmm. It's like when you could go on a trail that's made to go on a trail, right? I mean, it's a man-made trail, and as soon as it starts getting a little dark, though, you're like, instead of this nice wide path with an open kind of an area, all of the trees just start coming in and getting tighter. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know what was what's more creepy or scary. Trying to hustle up those stairs in an unknown house where nobody's lived for a long while, and you're just like, or the election. So I am a guy who loves to put music together, right? I've been doing it for years for different things, whether it was just to listen, um, whether it's for my girlfriend or for a friend. Um, but I put all kinds of these things together. But before I get into that, let's see what Drew has to say here. Sounds like fun. And the woods are easy to get lost in. Random sounds here and there. Oh yeah, random sounds can come from either the woods or something like that, or your house, right? I mean, you're in a house. Sometimes I like to have sounds, something going like a fan, because then I don't hear every little sound. I heard two sounds this morning, and I'm like, what the hell was that? Now, sometimes I get thrown because we have these pine trees in the back. And if it gets a little windy, they'll drop pine cones, and sometimes those thump on the house. And then I'm like, "Ugh," you're like, what the hell was that? Or the cat does something and knocks something over. Or there are those times where you're like, thump, and you go look, and there's just nothing there. And you're like, what the hell was that? Or you do know what it was, but you're like, why would that do that? How did that shut? Still haven't seen a Bigfoot or Dogman, or a Mothman, right? Yet, but did see a bear. Oh yeah, yeah. That's reality, man. That's scary reality right there. Play Monster Mash. Nice. Hey, Elegant. How's it going? Thanks for jumping in. Has anybody watched? I should have brought it over here, but I could probably pull up a picture of it. What was it called? Monster Party. It was a Rankin and Bass stop action thing that they did years ago, decades ago. It's a little long, but what I would love to do is maybe edit it down a little, because it is kind of long. You're like, are we still here? Are we still doing this? Ooh, yeah, I'm sure there's something out there watching. Used to go to the Pine Barrens in New Jersey to look for the Jersey Devil. Nice. Oh man. So I love putting. Remind me to tell you my funky story. If you got a scary story, I would love for you to share it. Um, I know it might take a little bit to type it out and put it in here, but if you want to do that, do that. Um, so, oh yeah, hey, yeah, it's you. Okay, I got you. Oh, that's great. Um, so if you have a scary story though, tell me. We'd love to hear it. And maybe next year, if you've got a few stories, maybe what we can do is like share them, and tell me what the scariest thing was that happened to you that was kind of truly freaky, right? Um, Not just, well, I was working in a house that hadn't been occupied in years, and I had to shut off a light in the basement. The problem with that is there were some doorways down there that I had never explored. So when there's places you don't know, then you're just like, "Yeah," you know, uh, you know what I'm saying? And then even when it comes to something maybe supernatural, or we can make something up, um, then it's kind of weird. We get this, we create our own edgy feelings when we do that. Oh man. We need a digital campfire. We do. We do. And don't forget all this stuff so we can make s'mores. Scary stories are great year round. They are. They are. Oh man, yeah. It is the unknown. It is that scary thing that lurks out there, and we make things of it. It's not always that there's something there. Now, when I get to the end here and I tell you the story before I go, there was something out there. Um, Probably nothing supernatural, but it was creepy. It was creepy. So, so I got my story at the end. Let's remember that. But all these years, I've always put music together. I've got some good stories about that. Most of them are good stories. I've even made compilation CDs for when I moved my daughter to school because she and I were going to ride together. So I just put together a CD or two to play on the road. That were some songs I knew she would really enjoy, and some songs that I that I thought she would enjoy as well. So so anything from that to playlist like I sent you guys that I used to go to Nashville. But then I put together Christmas CDs. I love putting Christmas CDs together. I used to have a party here every year, and we used to do that. And oh yeah, yeah. And so speaking of that, check out The Penguin, guys. If you haven't started watching The Penguin, it's a good show. It's a good show. The moniker on the front, the logo, I noticed is very much in the way of the movie The Batman, which moves way too slowly for me as we started rewatching it. A Christmas Carol, dude, I almost said that earlier. You always know how to just pull some ideas right out of my head. I was thinking the same thing when Emma said scary stories are great year round. That's exactly what I was thinking. My brain went to go to the ghosts of A Christmas Carol. I love that. I love that. I'll be talking about that more when I'm as that season comes through. And yes, please, thank you, Emma. Everybody, zap that like button and hit subscribe and notifications just so that you can know when we're going to be here, even though sometimes, like today, it's 10 minutes before. It was a crazy day for me today. I don't know. I wasn't quite with it all day today. Been what they would call a hot mess, I suppose. We do. We do. There's also another show. Oh, I know what it was. The second Phantasm movie where they had that uh thing where they were both seeing the tall man. So I love putting these things together. So one of the other things that I'll share with you down the line here is that for was it a couple 3 years? I get 3 years or 2 years. I put together designs for a mini go-kart for the indie style go-kart races. And so when I designed my car, I would have a team, and then I would always have a jam box there to play CDs. So I would mix music and put those together and play those while people were looking at the car during the night before party where we would have all the cars on showcase there. So that's another time where I'd put music together. The worst time I ever did it, I'm still probably going to call this the worst time. I mixed 5 cassettes. I think it was 4 to 5 cassettes. Took me a whole day over a span of time. I spent 24 hours putting these things together, and somebody took them out of the player when I was playing them at the event. This was the mini Grand Prix event, oddly enough. I may have talked about this recently, but man, that burned my livers. Anyway, so I do that for Halloween because there's so many great songs that are out there that are rock tunes that are spooky tunes, or they have an edge to them, right? When I was growing up, and I think I still have a copy of it back here. I didn't get it pulled out of here. This might be something of interest to you folks, if I can find it quickly. Looking for my Disney section, which is over here, and I'm going to see if I can find it. I think I found it on CD a while back. If I don't find it real quickly here. Oh, I'm getting close. Yep, there it is. Still got it. There you go. Haunted Mansion. This is awesome. There's all the different pages that are inside, so I don't have to take it out. But it basically goes through the ride. But Ron Howard is one of the actors on here. It's about two teenagers who are out on a date and they get it starts to rain and they run up to the haunted mansion. Why would you run up to this house? I don't know. But anyway, they run up to it and they go inside and then they get caught up in all the adventure that is the ride, um, and everything. So it's a lot of fun. And this Grim Grinning Ghosts from this ride is one of the songs that I put on the playlist. Um, Let me bring up a little bit of the artwork here. These will remind me of a bunch of the songs that I have on here. Now, we don't have to go through all of this because there's a whole stack of things I want to run by you real quick because I don't know if you guys may collect some of this stuff. So here we go. Now, Blue Oyster Cult is a band that has a bunch of songs that you can put on a Halloween mix. Agents of Fortune, you've got Don't Fear the Reaper, but not only do you have Don't Fear the Reaper, you can also put the what's the vampire tune on there? Oh my gosh, Tattooed Vampire on there as well. So there's one. Um, Nerf Herder did the Buffy the Vampire Slayer track. Also, Nerf Herder recorded a version of the Groovy Ghoulies soundtrack because if this is something you're playing for the trick-or-treaters that are going to come through, sometimes it's nice to have some fun stuff on there. But one of the reasons that I thought about doing this is because I was taken in so much when I had our kids out trick-or-treating, and we went by this one house. I still don't remember where this neighborhood is. I don't know what year it was, but somebody had set up speakers and lights and different decor for Halloween, and it was really, really cool. And and they were playing rock tunes. And I'm like, what is going on here? This is awesome. So I always had a dream of doing it. Did I ever really do it? I did it a couple of times. Um, but just it wasn't something that we were either taking the kids out, and then by the time they got old enough and went out, then I would put up some things. We'd give out some candy. I'd play a few songs here and there. I'd play some music, but never the big time thing. I don't know. When I'm working, I just don't. I don't know. Especially with this job that I've got right now. By the time the day is over, I'm just done. You know, and I want to do this and hang out with you guys and whatever else it is. I love video games, so that's why we have Go Game Go. I mean, it's a lot of fun. Um, but I'm looking forward to finally maybe getting things in gear like that and putting some things in the yard and doing some fun stuff like that. So, Blue Oyster Cult here. There is a song on here that's not. It's not a horror tune, not in the way that maybe Tattoo Vampire or Don't Fear the Reaper, but it is ominous and it's tragic. Um, then Came the Last Days of May is on here. She's as Beautiful as a Foot is on here too. But Then Came the Last Days of May is an interesting, ominous tune about a some friends that get together on a deal and they decide they're going to get into the drug trade and they have all their stuff together and they go out on this drive and they're supposed to meet these guys in the desert. Well, they don't make it out. It's kind of interesting. Three Hearts this is an album. This is Bob Welch's follow-up to French Kiss, on which he had two big hits. And Sentimental Lady was one of them. And the other one, wow, why does it elude me? I can see the album too. That's really scary. It'll come to me. Ebony Eyes, see? But then he put out this album. This album had a great hit on it called Precious Love. But on it, I mentioned it before to you guys, is a song called The Ghost of Flight 401, which is based on a true story. So it's really, really cool and ominous. So check that one out. Of course, Thin Lizzy, Chinatown, has a song, Killer on the Loose Again, about Jack the Ripper. Here's another piece of alternate artwork for that album I thought was really cool. Just that album cover is so much fun. Love it. Love it. Love it. Here's another Blue Oyster Cult album. This has a song on it called Black Blade, which is really, really cool. And it's based off the Michael Moorcock story where the Black Blade chooses its owner, and then is oddly enough it forces him on a murderous rampage where he kills people he knows and loves. So really, really tragic. Let me see here. What we got here. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Nerf Herder. I haven't listened to a lot of Nerf Herder. Oh, there you go. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes. Feed my Frankenstein. Keep them coming too. Keep them coming. I may mention a couple of things, but you guys are going to come up with stuff that I probably maybe I may not think of. But that was one that hit me earlier, and I don't know that it's on here. Ah, and Drew. Yes. Drew's throwing down some love for that idea. So let's take a look at what we got next here. Let's see here. This is one of my all-time favorite songs for Halloween. Creepy. Oh, and it's so well done. Of course, you could do the Devil Went Down to Georgia thing, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Legend of Woolly Swamp, where it's about it's about down in the swamp. There's an old man that lived out there, and he had a bunch of money, and he kept it in mason jars, and he'd bury it out in the ground, and then he would outside of his place, and then periodically when the moon was bright, he'd go out there and he'd dig up all his money and he'd pour it out all over the floor and just lavish in all the money that he had. Well, there were some bad boys, I guess you might want to say, some boys of ill repute. Let's be as PC as we can. I don't believe there's bad people. I think there's just people with bad ideas. All right. And some super shitty ideas sometimes. So yeah, sometimes it goes beyond bad. But still, anyway, so they find out about the money, and one night they go out there and he says, look, one brother says to the other, well, let's go out there and we'll get that money and then we'll throw them to the alligators. Right. And so that's what they do. Well, the ending is fantastic because they get the money and then they take off running. And Drew, you can tell me what happens. Can you tell me what happened? Earache my eye. Look at that. Keep doing the don'ts. Earache my eye. Why did I just mention earache my eye to somebody? Because a friend of mine was telling me about like when he'd get punished for doing something wrong. He started getting to that age where his dad's like boop, and he's like whatever, and it just didn't hurt anymore or whatever. And that reminded me of earache my eye. When he goes off like that. But anyway, surprise ending. If anybody knows, let me know how it ends. This one, remember, Legend of Woolly Swamp. Now, I just wanted to put up here because Don't Fear the Reaper is on here, and there's some other great classic Blue Oyster Cult songs, but these are Cult Classic is about songs that they'd already done, but they'd done them live these certain ways, and then they did recordings of those ways that they did it. So be sure and check that out if you can find that out there. Pick it up. It's worthwhile. The album cover is back in the day, this was an Adobe Illustrator dream, right? You're like, look, you can do all this in Illustrator. So the cover could be better, but it's not. Ghostbusters. I mean, come on. You got to love it. They went to court over it. That was scary for him, I'm sure. Realizing that somebody realized that he ripped off Huey Lewis. So, what was it again? Oh, you missed the first part. Oh, Legend of Woolly Swamp. The brothers go and they kill the old man, throw him to the gators, steal his money, and what happens after that? What causes the whole scary, icky part at the end? So, Pete, some love from Emma Jade. Yeah, Ghostbusters. Great movie to see. Heaven forbid. This has a couple of this one has a criminally scary track on it where it's called See You in Black, where it's about a woman who is abused by her husband, and a good friend knows what's happening. And he says, I'd love to see you in black. That would mean that he's dead. And we would go off to Greece, and we would drink ouzo in our cups, looking at the sunset or whatever, and so that is one. But then there's another one on there called Harvest Moon, which is a creepy tune. Maybe it's about, again, I'll use the word ominous, because it doesn't ever really say what happens. It's not telling you about the actual danger. It's just that strange things are happening, and they happen during the harvest moon. It's kind of wild. Here's the Groovy Ghoulies. If you didn't know what the heck I was talking about earlier, this was a cartoon on which I grew up, and it was great. It was done by Filmation, who are the guys who did He-Man and tons of other stuff. Brave Star. They did a Batman and Robin series. They did a Superman series, Tarzan, and God, many, many, many others. Anything associated with He-Man, they did that way back when. But then there's some other cartoons that I was like, oh my gosh, they did that too. I know. Filmation, they did one of my all-time favorites, which is the Young Sentinels, which later was called the Space Sentinels. And I was very fortunate to find that on DVD so I can watch all those shows. Yeah, just for fun, here's the label. Charlie Daniels Band, The Legend of Woolly Swamp. Written by Marshall, Daniels, Crane, Hayward, Edward, and Di Gregorio. Di Gregorio. That's how you say that. Yeah, see, from the album Full Moon. From what was the year? 1980. Same year of Back in Black. So let's see. Drew, you got anything for me? I've had ouzo. I was the most smashed oh man, dude, I love ouzo. You can make what do I call it? Root of all evil. You can have ouzo with root beer, and that's the root of all evil. Now, if you want the working man's root of all evil, just put it with Jägermeister, because Jägermeister is pretty much, as far as taste is concerned, it's like the working man's ouzo is Jägermeister. So anyway, well, I'll just tell you. I don't know. Are you going to tell me, Drew? That's what I got to know. If not, here it goes. Well, or I could save it for you, and you could listen to the song. Which would you rather? Have me tell you, or would you rather just hear the song? Legend of Woolly Swamp. Let's go back to some more of these pictures. Here you go. Highway to Hell. Now, here's another trivia piece for you. What on here? Well, on here, it's Night Prowler is the name of the song, and it's very much like Jack the Ripper, just talking about Jack the Ripper, which I can't believe I didn't download. Yeah, the Judas Priest album to have the Ripper on here. I should have done that. But anyway, there's the Creeper, or that Creeper's coming next. This is Molly Hatchet. Their first album, they had a song called The Creeper. Lord, when the Creeper comes along. That was a great tune. Great tune. But Highway to Hell has Night Prowler. It's the very last song. And here's your big other piece of trivia is what television program, what sitcom is spoofed at the end of that song, at the end of Highway to Hell? Okay, as far as Drew is concerned, you'll just listen to it, but I can tell you. Okay. All right. I'm sure everybody else is cool with that. Otherwise, I'd have heard a stream of whatever here. No, at the end of the Woolly Swamp, Legend of Woolly Swamp, the guys come in, they kill him, they feed him to the gators, they grab up all the money, and they run. But before they knew it, they weren't going anywhere because they were running in quicksand. So then they went under because they were freaking out. And just as they go under, they could, it says they could hear that old man laugh. So they could just, they heard him laughing about it. So anyway, they say if uh, you ever go back in the woolly swamp, well, you better not go at night because there's things out there in the middle of them woods that make a strong man die from fright. Things that fly and things that crawl and things that creep around on the ground. And they say the ghost of Lucius Clay gets up and he walks around. So there you go. Never run in quicksand. They done messed up. They sure did. That is absolutely right. Oh man, that's a karma story if I've ever heard one. And of course, here's another great one. Artwork from Night on Bald Mountain. What a great piece. That I'm going to bring up here in just a couple of minutes when I show you another one. Now, earlier, and I'm not going to dwell on this, but there you go, Bob Welch. So Bob Welch was originally, as far as the music world is concerned and people who love classic rock was concerned, he was a part of Fleetwood Mac, which is the reason why when you listen to this album and you listen to French Kiss, you're going to hear some background vocals from Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie because he worked with them at this point in time. And on this album, there's a great song called Hypnotized, where Bob Welch talks. He was all into this kind of supernatural stuff. And on there, he talks about some supernatural happenings that were in nature. He talks about all kinds of things that are around the world and strange, mysterious things and sightings that people have had. So it's called Hypnotized. And it's a beautiful song. Bob Welch was a great writer, and he really put together some great things. And he also covered some things. He did a great job doing that too. Covered the Beatles on that Three Hearts album. So check out Three Hearts. Go ahead and start with French Kiss, and then go to Three Hearts. It's a great back to back listen. But yeah, Mystery to Me, song called Hypnotized. Here you go. Lost Boys soundtrack. There's a couple of different things on here, but most notably, Echo and the Bunnymen did a cover of The Doors, and they did People Are Strange, and they did a really, really good job with that. I thought that was great. But yeah, great soundtrack, and they released it on a blue vinyl, which is kind of interesting. I thought maybe they'd have released it on a red vinyl. What do you think? I think it would have been better on a red vinyl, but who am I? Night on Bald Mountain is easily a favorite. Absolutely. Toccata and Fugue is the same way, right? And then also, uh, why can't I say it? King of the Mountain Hall is great as well. That one always, it's the one that it kind of, it starts off like uh, a thriller. It's kind of slow and plotting, and then it grows and gets faster, and like the chase is on. So that's what it really. Yeah, but yes, I forgot about that. Toccata and Fugue. Don't get me started. Toccata and Fugue also was in. Does anybody know what sport action? Well, I can't really call it an action movie. I can only call it an action movie because it's got the sport in it. Does anybody know what false sport movie? When I say false sport, it's not about football, but it did have uh, it was influenced. The sport was influenced by what was big at the time because it was huge when I was growing up. This sport. Now, I think it might be making a comeback, and I don't think it ever left, but it left national television. It used to be on every weekend morning, whether it was Saturdays. I think it was on Saturday mornings. I used to watch this sport. But Toccata and Fugue was used in what false sport movie back in the 70s? Let's see. And here you go, The Addams Family. Ba-ba-da-bum, bap, bap, ba-ba-da-bum. I mean, what a great song to play for trick-or-treaters as they're coming in. Let's get back to Blue Oyster Cult. Here you go. This one's got a couple of songs that are perfect to play. One of them is straight up a tune about a horror story, and it's Nosferatu, or as they pronounce it, Nosferatu. It's a great, great song. But there's another one on there called "I Love the Night," which is about a man who meets a woman who who says, "I love the night." She sings, "I love the night." He had left. He had had an argument, I do believe, with his significant other, and left her. And then he was out in the night, and here she was, and it was really, really cool. Now, there's another one that has a bit of a uh, an angry kind of rough, fatal ending, and that is oh wow. Why can't I think of it off the top of my head? It's terrible. Um, I'll look it up here. I'll have to look it up. It's I can't believe I can't think of it. But I just told my friend that this happens to me now and again. Golden Age of Leather. It's about two gangs meeting in the desert, and they have this thing where they have this war, and then it's just about it's just it's a rough it's just about a you know anyway. Death Valley Nights is on there too, and but I Love the Night and Nosferatu are the last two songs on the album, so it's a great record from 1977. 77's really dear to me. I love that year. There's the original just version of Lost Boys. There you go. Got the Addams Family, got to have the Munsters. Look at this. I didn't know this album existed. I'm sure it's probably out there available. Let's take a look, because this cover looks new. So I'm wondering if maybe they've put it on CD and it's available. Let's spell it right. The Munsters. What did I say? CD. Let's put in CD and just see. I could have put in the name of the album. Let's see. There's an audio CD, which is Monsters, Mummies, and Other TV Friends. And then let's see, what else is there here. Maybe that's the one that, I bet that's it. Yeah, it could be it. And then there's another Munsters album. Okay. Anyway, the CD is $26, but let's see what else there is. There's a vinyl album. Oh, there's the soundtrack to Munsters Go Home. That's $40. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see this album cover though. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. And then here you go. Got to have Thriller on there. It's really cool. I'll tell you what, and again, I think I've mentioned this before. There was an anniversary with that album that it might have been that 40th anniversary version, and it had great interviews on it. And the one lets you know that he actually wrote 3 speaking stanzas for Vincent Price, and only 2 of them made the record. But if you go out here on YouTube, and I should look that up and get you the let me see if I can do that. Thriller, Vincent Price. Let's see what it says here. Vincent Price, the Thriller Rap Live session. There, it's probably the session. I'll put it in here nonetheless, and I'm sure that's what it is. But the guy wrote it very quickly. Very quickly. Here, let me get back to the comments, folks, and I'll put it in here for you. The Count song from... Dude, I'll tell you what, man. I work at the special needs school, and we use, when we have our math class and we do the numbers, that's what we use. We use The Count, and I love it. It's just kind of fun. I don't always love the fact that here we are in a high school, setting, and we do some things that are very young, but it's just where their heads are, and it's all good. It's just, you know, it's just I anyway. So the guy finished writing those lines for Vincent Price in the cab on the way to the session, and he showed up right at the same time as Vincent Price. He ran in, asked somebody to make him copies of it real quick, got it to Vincent Price. Vincent Price did it all in one take, and then they cut one of the verses out that he wrote. So it was really neat. I love the Count so much. He is great. He does. That's his job. I'm just going to count, right now, and then I'm going to suck your blood later. So, everybody needs a hobby, right? Castlevania theme. Good call. Very good call. Very good call. And one last one that I've got a photo for is they only come out at night. Night. By the Edgar Winter Group, which had a great cast of musicians on it. You got to remember that one had Denny Carmassi on drums, who went on to play with Heart. And then you have, and he played like during those big 80s years. So he started up, I think, I'm trying to remember if Denny's first album was Passion Works, but then he was through those 80s albums right in there. Bad Animals, Heart, Brigade. He was on that one. So that was the drummer, but then he left there with Ronnie Montrose to do Montrose. Ronnie Montrose was on that record. Also on that record was Dan Hartman, who would have a beautiful song on there. I've mentioned it on here before, a song called Autumn, which is perfect. Aw, that's two songs you got to remember. Let me bring those up another time, but those are great songs. Autumn, I'll just say it, Autumn, and then Forever Autumn, which is from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. I'm gonna look up Forever Autumn because if you're I'll just say it, if you're that kind of, if you've got that romantic, if you're a romantic, let's just put it that way, you're gonna love this song. It's from the view of the main character who's trying to get to his wife. She's had to run because of the invasion, and it's just him just lamenting about missing her, and it's just beautiful. It's so incredible, and here you go. You can check this out. It's just so beautiful. I was playing it for some of my students at school. I started getting emotional just standing there listening to it. I'm like, oh man. So, Emma, everyone, it's really been nice. I have to go to work at the spooky haunted park now. Get out of here. See y'all next time. All right. Thank you so much. Love you, gal. Take it easy. Oh man, that's great. Do you guys like haunted houses and stuff like that? I went once and I kind of said I don't need to go back again. Just because it's just not my style. Now, I did this. There's an album out there that's Elvira's Halloween Hits. Let me see if I can find that. Elvira's. I probably ought to look it up on Spotify. I wonder if it's on there. But it has like stuff like The Blob and of course it's Monster Mash, as we talked about earlier. And One-Eyed, what is that? The One-Eye one. How's that go? I can't even think of it. Purple People Eater. Ooh, there you go. Monster Hits 1994. Oh, what do you know about that? It's got, oh yeah, okay. Little Demon by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. It's got Feed My Frankenstein, Monster Mash. Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street by DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. Oh, and Here Comes the Bride, Elvira. But let's remember, Somebody's Watching Me. Yeah, by Maxwell. That's another great one. Um, I wonder if there's also a thing out here that just says Halloween hits. Oh, you know what? Your Concrete Blonde has some great songs too. Um, for that. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, Pet Cemetery, that's right. And it didn't come up here. There was a glitch in the system, and I noticed now that it didn't come up. And here, let's see if this will come in now. It probably just, yeah. There you go. Warren Zevon's Excitable Boy has Werewolves of London on it, for crying out loud. Um, and let's see what else we've got here. Time Warp, you could do stuff from there. Running with the Devil, Van Halen. Pet Cemetery, is that who does that Pet Cemetery tune? Who is that? This is Halloween, which is a great song. That's on one of my compilation CDs here. Let's see what else we have here. Kolchak the Night Stalker theme. Cry Little Sisters, another good creepy tune from the Lost Boys soundtrack. Let's see. Diary of a Madman. That's another great one. From Ozzy. Let's see what I got here. Spooky. Either version, Classics 4 or members of the Classics 4 went on to be Atlanta Rhythm Section. So use either one of those. I Put a Spell on You as a huge big one now because it was in Hocus Pocus. So you can do that by CCR if you want. You could do it by Bette Midler. Let's see. Hypnotize, Holy Mountain King. Oh, Dance Macabre. That's pretty cool. Yep. Yeah. Twilight Zone theme. You could do Twilight Zone if you wanted by Golden Earring. Then here, let's take a look. So I'm a guy who collects. I probably don't need all these. I'll probably eventually get rid of these. But before I do, I need to download them so I can put them in, figure out what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. And then just burn those keepers onto another disc, right? But here is this. This is an album that I really like. It's one of these RCA Victor collections called Classics from the Crypt. So yeah, Night on Bald Mountain is on here, and the Mephisto Waltz, and Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's another really good one. So yeah, lots of really good stuff on there, and I love the artwork. I always love that artwork of the Phantom. There's my copy that I got to make a good cover of this. With my new printer, I can print out a good copy for the cover of that Haunted Mansion thing. I found it on cassette years ago when I worked at the Disney store. And so I converted my cassette over to CD. Here's another one, Fright Flicks. This is these collections. You find them really cheap. Where is this one from? Yeah, Drew's. What is that? Drew's Lemons? That's what it looks like it says. Anyway, they put out all these different kinds of collections, right? Some of them have sound effects and others don't. I wish I could find my I don't know where I've put my thing that allows me to see these better, especially in the dark. Here's another one that I got that has a lenticular cover. Ooh, the Demented Doctor. Ugh. So this is silly. This one has like stuff that there's no way I would like keep this. I've just had it until I could figure out a better way to go with it. And then there's Halloween Howls. Ooh. And I'm sure it's the sound effects and the scariest, most chilling, hair-raising, what is that? Bone-chilling, heart-stopping, shocking, spooky sounds ever recorded. Makes me wonder where they recorded this. Backed by scary music. So you can come up with these that have music and sounds. Then here's one that's got scary stories on it, which, it's over an hour long. So The Telltale Heart, The Raven, The Murders of the Rue Morgue, and Pit and the Pendulum. So these are just Edgar Allan Poe things. There you go. There's another one in that same series, Spooky Sounds. And one more in that same series, Haunted House, which is what I was wondering if I was trying to get out of a haunted house the other day. And then here's another one, Halloween sound effects. If I find them and they're cheap, I get them a lot of times. It's, you know, you're a collector. It happens. There you go. More than 70 minutes. Halloween sounds. And more, this is horror sounds. Ugh. Sounds of horror. Yeah, my alarm in the morning when I'm getting ready for work. That's a sound of horror. I wonder if that's on there. What is this? Monstrous music from beyond. Nightmare Manor. Oh, you know what though? I need to look this up too. Let me get you a link to this because I'm gonna put this in there. Nox Arcana. If you've never heard of Nox Arcana, let me get their website. It's very simple, noxarcana.com. But I'm going to put it in here for you anyway, okay? Because you should know about these guys. So I'm going to do a paste and a boom, and there you go. So you can check that out. There you go. Steaming is good, but I like to have backup. Oh, streaming is good. Till streaming. I know, right? That's what I'm always saying. I'm always saying that. Now, it looks like Music from the Shadows for Creatures of the Night. Darkfall is a new album by Nox Arcana, a new treat for Halloween. Well, there you go. Huh. All right. Cabinets of Dr. Arcana. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, another one that I do want to tell you about for Halloween is Midnight Syndicate. If you've never heard of them, how do you spell syndicate? Okay, I got it. Yep, there it is. I'm going to give you this too, because I actually met these guys, and they have some really great music. So either one of these have themed albums, okay, and they'll be everything from, from vampires to the Walking Dead to ghosts to other supernatural things. But Midnight Syndicate did a great album that talks about it's all music for Dungeons and Dragons. It's really, really cool. Here you go. Scary Sounds of Halloween. There you go. It doesn't get any different. It's all just sounds of horror. Yuck. And nasty night frights. Yikes. Maybe I should put that on instead of my fan at night. Do you think that would help me sleep? And the last one I've got here is Sounds of Halloween. My son is like, oh, dear God, how many do you have of these things? You do collect too much. So, but that is the way it goes. So anyway, but do yourself a favor though. If you want an easy fix, and you want to play some kind of creepy, atmospheric music, I'm going to check here. Let me look. I know that Nox Arcana is on, I think they're on Spotify. Yeah, they've got a bunch out there. Oh, and their brand new one is out there. This is Darkfall Volume 3. Zoinks. So yeah, shoot, you could get out there. The songs on it are Scarecrows, Mephisto, Burnt Offerings, and Dark Harvest. And then there's Dr. Arcana and the Secret Shadow Spire. That's game soundtrack. Oh, it's a game. All right, so you have that. Then there's Vanguard. There's Darkfall Volume 2, which has Night Haunts, Sundown, Widow's Web, Crimson Autumn. Ooh, another autumn tune. And then there's the original Darkfall, which has Sinister Shadows, Slumber Deep, Grave Dancers, What Waits Below, and Dark Matter. So the cool, Dark Matter. Interesting. I thought Midnight Syndicate had something about Dark Matter, and it was a movie. So they have an album called Excelsior. That Haunted Symphony, that's a great one there. Haunted Symphony and Ebonshire. Season of the Witch, Gothic, Legion of Shadows. There's a lot out here on This would keep you busy for all of Halloween. But the thing I liked to do with it was get some of this music and then mix it. So you can make a playlist where you have some of the atmospheric music playing and then play Ghostbusters or something like that, you know? Theater of Illusion, Winter's Eve, Blackthorn Asylum, Phantoms of the High Seas, Grim Tales. I can't even believe I didn't mention the Rime of the Ancient Mariner yet for Iron Maiden. I mean, Maiden's got a bunch of tunes, whether it's Phantom of the Opera or Prowler or it's you know uh, other tunes. Anyway, but some great stuff from Iron Maiden and Megadeth. You could probably find something there. I know you could. There's like Asylum from from Metallica. All kinds of great stuff. Blood of the Dragon is one of those albums that is Nox Arcana's kind of D&D album. Then there's Carnival of Lost Souls, Transylvania, Winter's Night, Necronomicon, that's what it is, Necronomicon, Dark Lore Manor, and I think that's their first album from 2003, 21 songs. So check those out. Some of them are nice and short, so they would be songs that would be great between songs. But I will do you one last favor and check on Midnight Syndicate on like Spotify. Yep, they're out there. They're out there. They have Halloween music collection, 13th Hour Vampire Symphonies from what's it called? Symphonies from the Crypt. So yeah, lots of stuff. Dead Matter. Yeah, see, Dead Matter, Cemetery Gates. They actually had a film that they did about that too. So yeah, so check out Midnight Syndicate and Nox Arcana. Really neat stuff. I mean, it's just good atmospheric music. So they have a zombies official board game soundtrack. That's pretty cool if you play that game. So, oh, look at that. Huh. Drew, they have Christmas, a ghostly gathering. That's awesome. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. So anyway, but that's kind of my Halloween collection there. Still got lots of horror movies that I may be still watching. I know I'm going to throw down on Phantasm 5. I still have to throw down on that tonight. And we're going to be talking about it tomorrow. So this is a great time to wrap this up and let you know about tomorrow. We're going to be doing the final installment of the Phantasm Ball, Part 3. We're going to be talking about number 4, Oblivion, and number 5, which is Ravager. So I haven't seen Ravager yet. It's the one that they did, obviously. They did it last, and I'm eager to see what the quality of that is like. I've seen some footage and everything, but I'm not quite sure how it's going to look. You know what I mean? Because some of these films, as your budget is somewhere in space there, sometimes it just looks more like a television program. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have that movie feel all the time. But that's okay as long as the script is fun and whatever. We already made it through the third one, which is what a lot of the fans say is not their favorite. But I don't know. I thought it was okay. You know. So, Nature Trail to Hell by Weird Al. There you go. I'm gonna check them out. Yeah, definitely do. Definitely do. I watched Night of the Living Dead last night. Fantastic. Fantastic. And yeah, there's a lot to watch. I mean, I just don't always find the time to watch them. I wish I wish I could. I wish I did. Been giving me countless good recollections. Good. Good, good. Glad to hear it. Well, all right, guys. Take it easy and have a wonderful Halloween. I'll be back tomorrow with Stuart Corden from the UK. He's in Nottingham, and we'll be back tomorrow at, I think we're gonna do it at 3 o'clock, because I gotta kind of be nice, because I gotta work first of all. Secondly, I have to be nice because he's so far, the hours are so different, and I don't want to keep him up too late talking about all that stuff. He might have nightmares. I don't I you know I doubt it, because he loves horror stuff. So you gotta love those recommendations. Yeah, recollections, recommendation. Recollections are things you already had. Recommendations are things that you now have privy notions. Anyway, so I'm going to stop trying to talk and I'm going to let you guys get to it. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys on Go Game Go later on at 7 o'clock tonight, which is here in about an hour. And then we will we'll be talking with you tomorrow about Phantasm 4 and 5 as we get things ready to go and finished up with that and on to our Halloween. Ooh, make sure that you have a great, safe evening. And remember, when you get on your costume and you get outside your door, you're in everyone else's world. They're not in yours. Think about that. Or something else. Whatever. Think about dinner. Pizza sounds great. Talk to you guys soon.